Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by two.
Daddy
Come
nearly
on,
slipped
Java.
up.
Come on, Java. Do your goddamn
yes.
thing. Two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us.
Maybe you were getting confused, Tommy, because we recorded an episode the other day with friend of the show and frequent guest Greg Larson, and there were three of us.
There were three of us then, yeah.
Yeah, and that was I'll do a plug for it so you don't have to. Of course, your name's Tommy Daslow and my name's Ben Vanel.
Yes.
And we did a Patreon episode, or I guess two Patreon episodes of How to Do Everything. Greg and I were the guests, and it was we really slid back into our video drone days of talking shit. Very fun.
I like to try and get people on who are a good combo. I don't want to just be getting any old two random people and slapping them together.
No.
There's the second one that is yet to come out. It'll come out in a week where the guest on the main episode can't stick around for a bonus.
Beautiful.
which could be quite soon, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a Skellington update for those of you that are interested. So,
huge.
Yeah, if you want to head over there and check that out, if you've been missing a bit of Geggy, you can head over to my Patreon. But more importantly, hey, why not head over to our Patreon?
Yeah, that's probably a better idea for me to promote.
We do a bonus show every week where we chat about movies and TV and other stuff. We just yuck it up in here.
Yeah. We yapped for a good hour about Naked Gun last week.
Yep.
We talked original. I'd watched that again with my partner, and then Tommy and I have seen the new one, so we go into great depth about that, comparisons to the OG and other parody films. A lot of stuff about Austin Powers in there for fans of the International Man of Mystery. But that was a ripper episode, a good one to dive in on, I reckon.
Yeah. So, get on the Patreon and it helps support the show. It keeps the lights on in here. It keeps us well fed. Keeps us nice and chunky. It's just a great thing to do. It's really a wonderful service to be on, honestly.
It's a wonderful service, and it's your good deed for the day. One day of the month, every month, when Patreon charges you. But
you can get, even if you're not interested in the bonus episodes, maybe you will be interested in the fact that you can get this episode ad-free.
Oh,
how's that sound?
Well, what if we throw in access to the private Discord and a monthly mailbag episode, which is part of the bonus episode feed?
Yes.
But if you're on the that tier, you get the mailbag episode where you can ask us absolutely anything, and we have to answer it. We're hooked up to lie detectors. It's a really good way to call us on our shit.
Exactly. A lot of people, they'll do an AMA, which is stands for Ask Me Anything. But we do an AMAA, Ask Me Absolutely Anything.
That's right.
We've found a way to make the phrase anything seem actually less than what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any PR people looking over our shoulder telling us, like, don't tell that story. That's actually, that might implicate someone else.
Yep.
We reveal everything.
Yeah, you can see it all. It's too late because you've already seen everything.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's the advertisements out of the way. And speaking of advertisements, we are a few days away from the release of Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And in order to build up hype, the cheeky little chappies in there at Sega, in at the PR department, they've launched an advert, a real TV-style advertisement that I doubt is being aired on any TV channel. I think it's just purely for online.
Yes.
Sort of taking aim at Mario Kart World and doing a bit of a reference to the Sega does what Nintendo don't. I believe was their campaign from back in the day. It's kind of an ad that opens with a screen playing Mario Kart World, but it's all blurred out, and this voiceover is like, you could play this racing game if you want. We don't need to show you what it is. Or you could play as Sonic in a car for some reason, even though he's canonically faster than any vehicle on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a pretty good ad. I've watched it a few times this morning.
A few times?
Yeah.
You ran it back?
I ran it back. I wanted to pick up every little Easter egg. But yeah, it's a direct reference to one from the 90s you were saying earlier, Tommy. And I watched that one as well, just once today.
Okay.
Just the one time.
Yeah.
That is an ad for the Genesis, aka the Mega Drive?
No, the Mega Drive.
The Mega Drive was the Aussie version. Where, they're using all of that 90s Sega attitude to take down Nintendo.
For anyone who's a little bit younger who may not remember this or be across this, it was mid-90s. Sega came out as the hard competition to the Super Nintendo, and there was this era where most video game advertising was pretty negative, pretty hardcore, pretty directly taking aim at the competition and showing their games and going, these games suck. The Genesis ad or the Mega Drive ad that this one is referencing is one that is sort of talking about how the Mega Drive has blast processing and the Super Nintendo doesn't. And I could be misremembering this, but from reading the Console Wars book, I'm pretty sure that blast processing was a term that Sega just kind of like made up. I think there were elements of the Genesis that were better than the Super Nintendo, but there were also elements of it that were not as good, but they just basically came out and went, it can do all. It's funny to watch the original ad, because it's basically them going, look at everything that the Genesis can do. Look how much better it is, and then showing a shot of Echo the Dolphin and being like, or you could play this that doesn't have blast processing, and it shows Super Mario Kart, and it's like, these look the same.
And I'd rather play Mario Kart. I've just done a quick fact check on blast processing. So apparently it was a thing that did exist, but was never implemented into any Sega games that were released.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, I guess technically they weren't lying. It was capable of it, but it just, like, no developers, and they couldn't even integrate it into their own games. So great stuff.
This could be a speaking of the Patreon, we do what we didn't mention is we do a once a month special zone where we do a full deep dive into one topic. So we've done it's mostly video games. Often there's other stuff. You did all the Mission Impossible films. The most recent one was me talking about the
Simpsons video
catalog
games.
of Simpsons video games. This would be a good one. Is kind of made up tech terms, because the Super Nintendo had the Mode 7 graphics, which is not made up. It's the thing that is basically the foundation of Super Mario Kart, where it's taking a sprite and the track. You're not actually driving on the track. It's kind of this sort of, it's the ability to take a sprite and kind of warp and scale it in that way, so it's kind of flattened and looks like it's kind of turning around. They use it a lot in Yoshi's Island to sort of stretch and skewer the different enemies, and they grow to be the size of the screen and stuff like that. But even just sitting around and going, we're going to call it Mode 7. It's been quite a while since we've had I guess ray tracing is probably the most current day equivalent of just a thing that is always being talked about as what a great thing to have in a game, where I think most people are I don't even really fully know what it is, but I know damn sure that if they mention that it's in a game or a console, I get very excited.
Yep. Or worried that my PC can't do it. I think maybe I will do that.
And you see screenshots side by side of it off and on, and it's I don't know if I can really see any difference here.
I think I will do that for the next special zone, because there's maybe not just strictly the marketing terms, but or the made up graphics thing. The thing that was used to promote and sell every console. The buzzword, the feature. The Xbox Connect is going to be part of it. All of those things that were sort of at the forefront of each marketing campaign, I reckon will be good, because then we can see if any of them were any good and if any of them were real.
I mean, there's heaps that some of them kind of pan out, some of them some of them don't. Like, yeah, all these things that I remember it was a big thing back in the day of just like, yeah, reading in the video game magazines about like, oh, this new thing's going to have this, and there'd be like some acronym or whatever, and you'd be like, whoa, cool. And then it would be so rare that any of this stuff would be implemented at all. But I mean, look, I love this ad. Like, I think it's a cool throwback.
It's a great ad.
It's it's very tongue in cheek. I think those days of it being, I mean, Sega and Nintendo aren't even direct rivals anymore because Sega don't make hardware. So it is just a funny, like, throwback to a different time. Yeah. But what is very funny about it is that to throw shade at Mario Kart World, and so the idea of like, oh, well, this might replace Mario Kart World for you, but the game is out in 3 days. And the Switch 2 native version is not going to be launching for another like couple of months. I don't think they've even said. So if you're playing Sonic Racing Crossworlds on a Nintendo Switch 2, as I downloaded the demo last night, you're playing the Switch 1 version, which runs like total shit.
Oh,
so to kind of be like, yeah, this game shits all over Mario Kart World, but you're not even bringing out like the best version of it on the console that runs Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
You know what is very funny? Like,
yeah. It's actually cooler to only have 17 frames per second.
Yeah.
That's a real 90s thing, and fuck Mario Kart World for running at a beautiful smooth frame rate.
Smooth 60. Yeah, it's a shame because that game is the demo's fun. It's getting really good reviews.
It is,
I love a kart racer.
Yep.
I really want to have it on the Switch too because I think I love having a racing game on the handheld. It's like so good for short bursts on a flight or whatever. But I don't really want to. I don't want to either go in on the. It's going to be a free upgrade from the Switch 1 version, I believe. But I kind of don't. Yeah, I don't think they've even said exactly when. I think it's maybe just by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Seems very strange to not have it be day and date with all of the others when it's such a big release for them.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to play it on PS5.
I guess, if I want to go in day one, but
but yeah, it is getting really solid reviews. It's getting 9s and 8s, and it does sound really, really fun. And I guess the other thing about that they kind of were emphasizing is that it has, what has it got? It's got crossplay.
Crossplay, which is cool. Yeah. One thing that's really cool about it is you at the start of each race, it kind of assigns you like a rival racer. And then
right.
So it's kind of, I think it's essentially just like a CPU, someone in the mix of the CPU characters that you're racing against that's like a little more aggressive. So maybe the AI is like slightly tweaked or something, or it targets you a little more. But what's cool is it sort of assigns it at the start of the race, and then you have like a very brief little back and forth sort of cutscene of the two characters talking to each other, and then as you're racing, you're getting little bits of dialogue of like, if they're right behind you and you shoot a rocket backwards, like your character will be like, "What do you think of that, Knuckles?" And then they'll be like, it's pretty light on stuff, but it just does like, again, it's the sort of thing that they don't really feed into Mario Kart at all. Like any of the things that they tweak are more to do with like the mechanics of the actual races, and it just, I don't know, when you've got these characters that have so much personality, just putting a little bit of that kind of flavor in it just does make you go like, yeah, I'm racing in this very like alive, believable, silly world, rather than it just all feeling quite flat. Because the other thing about this game that is a bit of a shame is that they've got all these DLC packs coming down the line of like SpongeBob and the Ninja Turtles, but I don't think they've bothered to get any of the voice clips or voice actors to record stuff for it. So, you're racing against SpongeBob, who's like got this iconic voice and is very silly, and he's just completely mute for the entire game. It seems like weird. A bit of a shame. Like, what's the point? Like,
Fuck, that would feel really ominous if you're racing against like a smiling but kind of static SpongeBob, and you're like, when's he gonna when's he going to laugh? When's he going to say something funny? And he's just fucking deadly serious.
It's kind of, remember there was that Nickelodeon fighting game where they didn't have dialogue for any of the characters, and people were like, "Yeah, I mean that's the fun. That's what that's what you want." It just feels lifeless without that being in there, especially when you do have, you know, in this game, all the other characters, all the Sonic characters are speaking and have dialogue, and then you've got probably the most like over the top, silly vocal character of them all, just just piping down. Seems bizarre, but I can't, you know, I thought it was kind of lame when they started showing this off and they got like the Minecraft characters and shit in there, but then now seeing how, like, I think they've said, there'll be like Joker is in it from Persona, Ichiban is in it, and then they're going to have Mega Man characters, apparently SpongeBob characters, Avatar, the cartoon, not the James Cameron franchise. Although who knows? I love the idea that they just are like, who gives a fuck? Just anyone that wants in this racing game, let's get it going. I kind of am excited to see like what other random stuff ends up being put in this game down the line. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, but yes, I'm just double checking, and many of the DLC characters will have no voice acting. I think Hatsune Miku is the only one of the few, because they're like their own property. But the ones that are owned by all these other different developers, like you say, Joker, Ichiban, SpongeBob, they just were like, well, it's too hard to coordinate like rights issues.
But when it's like a paid extra, like these are all paid DLC, it's a little, you know, it's like you got to go the whole hog if you're asking for a little extra money.
Yeah. Like apparently it's like, well, it would be harder work. It's like, well, you're getting paid extra. So
the game's going to make a lot of money. I mean, they did. I'm pretty sure with that the Nickelodeon fighting game, they did end up getting either licensing the clips or getting some vocal stuff in there. I think at one point there was like a download, like a patch that added it all in. So maybe they'll reverse this decision down the line. Who knows? Hopefully, because it would make it a lot more fun. It makes me a lot more interested in it if it's just like chaotic, Ichiban riffing it up with SpongeBob as rival races.
Maybe they will. Because you're right. I think this was the first one of those All-Star Brawl games. Didn't have it. Patched it in months later, and the sequel did have it from the start. So clearly it's just a matter of like figuring out the legality of it, and then the next time you just sign the contract again.
It seems strange that you'd be able to get the license to have the characters in, but not have but that the voices would be a separate issue. Maybe it is just like having to pay the voice actors gets all costs too much. But
there's guild rights and shit like that, but. Anyway, I am keen for this game, and it's been getting great reviews. Comes out in a few days. We'll talk about it next week for damn sure.
Sure.
There's been some other shit going down this week too.
There sure has. Well, I mean, speaking of Nintendo and cool features in video games, there were reports during the week that Nintendo was attempting to patent the concept of summoning in video games. And of course, people got very angry about that, thinking that would be a bad thing for video games on the whole, which they are, of course, correct. But the story was a little bit overblown. They were specifically saying, wanting to patent how the creatures behave once they've been summoned, which is like a very specific thing from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And apparently the request for the patent would have a hard time getting it through. So it doesn't seem likely that it would hold up. But they do be patenting. They do love to be patenting.
They love to get in the fucking courts and have a real gab and be like, what can we do? Can we patent this? Can we sue this little individual fucking prick into oblivion and make them garnish their wages for the rest of their adult life? This is a weird one. Because I'm looking now at an article where it's like, some of the reports on this were wrong. Like a lot of the sort of like statements that these journalists were making were based on like faulty understanding of the law. And I guess a lot of it has to do with stuff that already existed in games that is similar to this mechanic or this aspect of this mechanic, making the attempt to patent it null and void, because it's like, no, someone else did this.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of back and forth. It's like, oh, maybe this happened in an Atari game in the 70s already. And yeah, it seems like even as specific as what they're trying to attempt to patent, it's like, I don't know how you guys are going to go with this. But also, that I guess they just don't mind giving it a crack, because if it pays off, then they'll really benefit.
I think they do tend to see. I mean, yeah, it's that interesting thing with games that we talk about a lot, where the idea of people being up in arms about something being ripped off doesn't really exist in the same way. Where you have Fortnite is a direct copy of PUBG, and this kind of stuff happens all the time. But then Pal World as well, and obviously Pokemon is worth so much to Nintendo that it would stand to reason that they would want to step in and make sure that something like that can't happen. But then there's also in this article that I read about kind of clarifying this this Nintendo patent thing, they talked about something which I think we've maybe talked about before, but I had forgotten about. Warner Brothers patented this idea called the Nemesis system. Speaking of technology in games and having cool descriptive titles, they patented this system that was in the Shadow of Mordor game.
Yes.
And they've never done anything more with it, and no one else can do anything with it. And it is such a cool concept that if other people had have been able to kind of pick it apart and do something with it, and it was just a thing that was in games now, probably would have by now developed into something like incredibly sophisticated and nuanced and immersive, and it's just sitting there on the shelf, and no one can touch this concept until I think it's 2036.
Yeah, right. And the thing, I think we talked about it recently, because Monolith, who made the game, was it Monolith?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was. So Monolith were acquired or were already owned, I can't remember, but it was one of many internal development companies that Warner Brothers closed down.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Because I think it came up because it was like, well, that patent, I mean, it belongs to Warner Brothers, but it doesn't, none of the people who made it, none of the people who had implemented it, none of the people who cared about it still work for them. So unless there's like some weird, executive in there being like, I want to champion this because I think it could make some money, it's not going to get used ever again. Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to protect your, valuable asset, your franchise, your IP, whatever it is, but to kind of sit on it just for the sake of sitting on it.
Yeah.
Have you played Shadows of Mordor?
Yeah. Right. I loved it.
So the Nemesis system, effectively, it is a concept where the way that enemies behave is sort of different for every player, and they essentially get stronger, or they learn from having like killed you in the game.
Basically, it just feels like a really good implementation of AI. Like, obviously, enemy AI has always been in games. It's was always very rudimentary until sort of the 3D era, basically. But the way it was implemented here was that there would be. I think there were also these sort of sub bosses that you sort of had to progressively move through and defeat until, you could get to the big bad guy at the end. I think they were procedurally generated when you start the game. And then they also adapt to every interaction you have with them. So they might kill you, and the next time you see them, they're like, "Oh, you're back for more. It's not going to be as easy. Like I'm gonna have your head in a spike just like last time. Like they would genuinely adapt to all the interactions you have with them. And if you killed them the previous time, and like part of the animation was that you cut off their left arm, the next time they're going to turn up with like a metal spike in there coming out of their shoulder, or like a claw, like a fake, all of that stuff was part of this system, which on top of that, it was like a fun open world game. It was a really cool setting. One of the probably the best Lord of the Rings kind of games that I've ever played. And yeah, that just added to that level of immersion.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It's so cool to think about, how that could be implemented in other games, especially these like really tough as nails, like 2D platformers where even just the idea that I'm very guilty of, if I'm running through a tough section of a game, I'll make the same mistake, multiple times in a row, like keep falling down the same pit or hitting the same spike, or the same guy will keep getting me in the same way. But if there was a system where it felt different every time. Something different was happening every time. And even like, people talking about in Silksong, the boss runbacks being frustrating or kind of dull and just being kind of like busy work because you know where you're going and it's kind of arduous. Like if those conditions that you were having to run through were sort of changing each time, like, I don't know, it could be more frustrating, but there's also the potential there for it to be sort of its own different new thing. There's so many interesting mechanics that you could do with it, and it's just, it's another like 11 years until anyone's going to be able to experiment with it, which is
one of the sort of like you say, there would be potential frustrations as a player because it can throw often, playing Shadows of Mordor, and I think the sequel Shadows of War had it as well. It would be like you would often you would sort of have it kind of had it as like this little, family tree of these kind of named and notable, enemies. And, you'd have killed one and you're like, oh, I'm going for this next one. It's pretty tough. This guy's going to be really tough to beat. I've got to like, maybe climb a tower and do like a stealth attack to start the fight, to get a bit of health off, and you'd be planning this. And then, halfway through sneaking up on the guy, one of the guys you defeated before would kind of turn up. He'd have a little like zoom in animation and he'd be like, aha, I've found you. I'm going to get you. And it'd kind of disrupt the whole plan, which, like that can be like annoying, but it's also way more immersive. It feels like you're in this like living, breathing world where you've got to improvise, and that makes it feel even better when you overcome those obstacles. So, I think there's so much potential there.
Where, how much more advanced tech is now and how much more advanced hardware is going to get. The idea that in say like a Dark Souls-y game, like an Elden Ring or something, where you are going up against this enemy and having to, learn the patterns and get defeated again and again and again and again. And that can be really frustrating if you're always getting defeated by like the same pattern and you're making the same mistakes. And, what could be cool about that is like a system where if this guy has, beaten you 25 times, then he starts getting cocky. Then maybe maybe a system where that's a thing where you could like start to thread in. I'm not saying don't come at me. I'm not saying they have to make the FromSoft games easier. I'm saying like a version of a game like that. Yeah, that would be a fun mechanic. That's a kind of an interesting way of threading in a like sort of a real time adjusting difficulty level without you having to go, okay, you know what, I'm just not good enough at this game. I'm going to go into the menu and I'm going to go to the settings and I'm going to turn the difficulty down to easy. Right. I have to concede that, like, I'm just not good enough at this game and I do want to see the ending of it. If it sort of, and, the Nintendo games do, like, the quite patronizing thing of, like, hey, here's the gold leaf that turns you into a little baby that makes you just invincible. If you've just been beaten 50 times by this guy and then, you turn up and he's like, you fucking piece of shit, I'm going to get you again. And there's like more of an opening for you to get in. Like that could be, that's cool. That could be a neat little feature that just like doesn't take you out of it. But
yeah. Like the kind of thing of like, I don't know. I watch a lot of TV shows and movies where, very online people, very like sci-fi fan people often criticize, like, why does this character act so dumb? Like, why did the villain tell the plan to the hero? That kind of thing. And it's like, as long as you justify it in a realistic way, that's fine. It's still immersive and it makes sense. And you're not just cranking the difficulty down. You could be playing into a character's arrogance or their, whatever, their own flaws that feels story appropriate and rich and, narratively justified.
And I mean, that would be the interesting thing about it. You could have like some enemies, they get they get better because they get the confidence of having taken you out 30 times. So you've really on that first run going through and going like, this is the easiest this is ever going to be versus, hey, this guy, I got to let him take me out a few times. Then that's going to make, if it was like an immersive thing of just you getting the flavor of the character and having to figure out like what kind of personality type this is. So anyway, don't worry, guys. Summoning isn't going to go anywhere. We're still going to have Final Fantasy. We're still going to have Persona. We're still going to have all these little, these like weird little fucking guys that come out onto the battlefield. Also something that's been going on this week, which is, I don't know, maybe we don't want to dwell on too much, but I don't know, like the ramifications of the last, what is it now, week and a half, 2 weeks of the Charlie Kirk assassination and sort of everything that is going on in response to that. Really hairy time across the board. A artist at Sucker Punch was fired over comments that they made about Charlie Kirk. They posted some joke. What was it? It was like, I hope this shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows that his brother has his back. Which is kind of a bad joke one way or the other, regardless of how you feel about the assassination. It's just kind of a weak joke anyway. They had to
getting fired over. We'll put it that way.
Getting fired over and totally and like, I don't know. Whatever you feel about all of that, it's like, we're about to have this huge game come out. Like, we really don't need this heat of like people on the right getting mad for thinking that you're glorifying the death of this guy. Like, it's a little above your pay grade to be weighing in on this on your Twitter account or wherever it was.
Yeah, which like other people, who was it? Someone who is very much described as anti-woke, sort of utilized that as an example of, this company's dead to me. Like, how could they, censor? Like, I don't know. Like, it's a fucking mess.
It's such a mess.
It's not the best example of, something that we are kind of concerned about, especially, like the Jimmy Kimmel stuff of like literally being taken off the air for criticizing a political figure. Like, that is really concerning, really worrying stuff.
And to be clear, I don't think someone should lose their job over. It's a dumb thing to do, but like at the end of the day, like it's such a mild tweet. I can understand them being like incredibly sensitive given the climate, but the whole thing is a fucking mess, including Bethesda posting a clip from the Indiana Jones game. Is it from the base game or is it from the DLC? The DLC has just come out, and so they're promoting, they're promoting that. They're posting a lot of Indiana Jones stuff, and it's a clip that is seen to be mocking fascists, which then people just absolutely tell on themselves and go, I'm boycotting this game now. It's like, right, so you're happy to just say that you're offended by this clip that is making fun of fascists? That's interesting. Everyone is just at peak, just boiling point right now, and it's very scary and it's very sad, and I think just literally everyone feels like they are just pushed to the absolute brink, and it's kind of it's inevitable and crazy to see this bleed into gaming. I mean, obviously, of course, not to say that gaming is immune from toxic, hateful people. Of course it isn't. But when these two big examples of it from the week are over a game about feudal Japan and a game about Indiana Jones. And
I mean, Indiana Jones has always fought against Nazis and, the Soviet Union and stuff. And like, I don't know, do the people who were angry at that clip, do they hate Indiana Jones already? Like, it does seem like an odd almost like it's a straw man, or just an excuse to attack something. But yeah, fucked times that we're living in.
Everything sucks, and we live in hell. But
hey, at least the Xbox is getting more expensive.
yeah, that's a nice little story. Yeah.
What is it? It's gone up like it's gone up $100 US. It's gone up $100 US. The Series S is gone from $299 to $399. The Series X, the main one with the disc drive, has gone from $499 to $649. So so not uniform price increases, but crazy decision to make.
Haven't seen anyone tweeting at them to lower the price, interestingly enough. Haven't really seen anyone care too much about this one, which is interesting.
Yeah. I guess it only happens with things that people really want and can't afford. When it's an Xbox, people are like, I wasn't going to get one anyway.
We're fine. A lot of bad news, but there was one kind of like sad but heartwarming story from the week is that I think it's in the post game in Act 3 of Silksong, there is a boss, and that boss is a tribute to a young Hollow Knight fan who died of cancer and got not through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, through the what are they called? They do basically very similar stuff. The Marty Lyons Foundation,
right?
A non-profit focused on fulfilling the wishes of children with terminal illnesses. That is very funny that the foundation, the other foundation that grants wishes, being called the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and then you start another one, and you're like, the best name's already been taken. Marty, what should we call our foundation? I got an idea.
Yeah.
This young man, his name was Seth Goldman.
Yeah.
His wish was to just have a video chat with Team Cherry, which the Mighty Lions Foundation organised, and he then ended up chatting with them a lot, and Team Cherry invited him to make a custom NPC boss character in Silksong, which was still 5 years away at that point, but he'd been posting about it on Reddit that this character was really cool. And how old? I'm trying to find how old he was.
He was 16.
16.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He has since passed away. He passed away in June 2020, and there's a memorial website for him that has been set up, that was set up by the family at the time, and just had like a handful of posts from family members and stuff. And people who have played the game now and found that character and know the story have been flooding that memorial website to be like, hey, rest in peace, and also fuck you for being an incredibly hard boss that whooped my ass 47 times.
But there's like lots of really just heartfelt and lovely tributes and memorials to him. A lot of people being like, man, you would have been the same age as I am today, and I get to enjoy this and you don't, and we're all thinking about you, and it's an incredible tribute.
Thing to leave behind. I mean, the fact that he got to play a build of it, he got to see it in action. I mean, he must have when did he die? In 2020, I think. He must have, I wonder if with his final moments he was thinking, man, when this game comes out within the next year, people are going to really love it. He had no idea when he passed away how far away people were from experiencing that game.
That does make it, so much cooler that they were able to and clearly prioritized making it a character that was going to be in the game to the point where he could experience it and see it in the game, and just a really cool thing for Team Cherry to have done. This is another
good special zone topic.
Oh yeah,
tributes to deceased childhood cancer victims in video games.
You know what,
Because
Tommy? I think I'll let you host that one.
No, you have to do the research. You have to find the people, because I then get to be the one riffing on it.
Oh,
if I'm
okay.
presenting it, you have to be the one there making fun of it.
That's true.
What are you going to contribute? Just sitting there going like, wow, how bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had cancer, so I don't know what it's like, but it must be really bad.
I can't remember if I said this on the show or not, but maybe I did when we went to the Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on event, and there was a. So for anyone who's not heard this piece of lore, when I was 12 and had cancer, I got a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I wished for a laptop, which is like the biggest squandering, the biggest squandering of a wish I think it's possible to have.
Yeah.
And then when we were at the Switch 2 hands-on event, there were a group of Make-A-Wish kids there. And it was just very funny to me that your dying cancer wish would be to go and play Donkey Kong Bonanza, a game which was out in like a month's time. And it really made me happy to see that the legacy of kind of ill-conceived, very short-sighted, tech-based Make-A-Wishes lives on with a new generation.
Yeah, shout out to those kids. I hope, like Tommy, you beat it and you're able to play Donkey Kong Bonanza for many years to come.
I hope you live to be old enough to realize what a big mistake you made.
Yeah. You should have gone up to them and shook your fist and said, "I hope you live to regret this."
Just going up to the person from Make-A-Wish. If they leave right now, the wish doesn't count, right? Kids, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Hey, you love Nintendo? How about you wish for some flights for you and your family to Osaka, to go to wish for the express pass, wish for to be able to cut the line, because that's something that'll live with you forever. Like this game is out in like 2 months, just.
I hope it was part of a bigger thing. I hope they were. They were getting some free shit. They were getting to go to a Universal Studios. God, this is a sensitive topic for me to riff about. You're right. I feel like I am on eggshells.
sorry to throw you in, but hey, you get the. I'm giving you the pass. You're under the umbrella of my previous experience.
Thank you.
But hey, something that you are, of course, more than qualified to riff on. Is what games you've been playing in this previous 7 days since we last got together.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say that. Like you, I've had a busy week, still taking care of the pup, but I have had a few hours to put into a game that came out a few weeks ago now. It is called Kronos, The New Dawn. It is from Bloober Team, who, they've worked on a bunch of stuff. They did the Silent Hill 2 remake from last year. They made The Medium, which was a horror game that came out, a few years ago now, 2021, which I played. And a few other games. They're a Polish-based company. And, this game, it is absolute classic survival horror in your Resident Evil sort of tradition. It is set in, I guess, I like sort of the mystery of it. It's a kind of post-apocalyptic, Last of Us style infection outbreak version of Poland, where the start is actually really, really cool. It's sort of this opening where you're called a traveler and you're encased in like a space suit or like a diving suit, like an old-fashioned diving bell sort of thing. And you don't have like a name, you're just like a designated number, you're a traveler, and your goal is to just reach the previous traveler, find out where they got to, I guess check up on their records, and continue exploring this fucked, post-infection world. And it starts with like this very, in Blade Runner 2049, where they do like the test when Gosling like goes back to the office, where it's like sort of making sure his program is still aligned, and it's like, say this phrase, repeat this word, say this phrase. There's like a bit of that in there. And it's kind of like, it seems like a personality test, like there's a Rorschach and you got to pick a couple options. And I don't know if this does, change the way that the game plays out, or the way that it adapts to those choices. But it is just a cool way to start a game. A lot of sort of grainy. I think it's in-engine stuff, but it looks very realistic. Sort of a bit of pre-war stuff or pre-apocalypse stuff. That kind of like not Soviet, but Polish. All of that sort of Eastern European or Central European language, and I don't know. Even though they're from Poland, for me, it creates this sort of, it really evokes this sort of atmosphere of that Eastern Bloc sort of rundown society. And so, you're basically kind of released into the world. You stumble into like a building, and the sort of Resident Evil stuff starts where, you're exploring rooms, one of the doors locked, you got to find a little secret hideaway passage and finding the key, getting to this area where you've got to find 3 fuses to unlock the roller door. It's real classic shit.
Oh, yeah.
And, the further you explore, you walk into a room and then, a lamp falls over and you hear a skittering noise as something runs into the next room, and it builds tension really, really effectively.
Nice.
And, there's a bit of combat early on as well. Nothing like too crazy, but fucking hell of a jump scare. I'll say that. I was playing this last night, and I was really scared. I was really, really tense. But loving it so far. Loving it. And apparently it has some sort of, it references early on sort of this time loop or time travel sort of potential mechanic, or, the way the world has sort of been affected. It's the way it starts is like, traveler blah, blah, blah died, Lazarus Project engaged, and then you're sort of awakened, and you never see your character's face. You're fully enclosed in this sort of suit. So I imagine there's going to be something with the way this unravels, who you are, what your purpose is, and how this is all, tied into these sort of hints at like reincarnation or resurrection and time travel. I'm really, really intrigued by it. It's super fun to play. It plays like the classic over-the-shoulder Resident Evil 4 sort of camera.
Great.
You start off with, just like one gun. You're picking up your handgun bullets sparingly, do a few little puzzles, few little passwords. If you want to open the supply closet, there's a combination lock, and then, you explore more, and then
you just find like a random bit of paper that someone's like written to his friend. Now, whatever you do, do not forget that the number for the combination lock is blah, 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 and then the like little bottom bit of the corners like torn off, and
yes.
Gotta go find like a random bit of scrap of paper.
Then it sounds like the monsters in that room. Oh my god, this is a load of bullshit. This is an absolute load of bullshit. It seems sort of like not open world, but sort of this linear world, or like you're sort of outdoors, you're going into like buildings and exploring them, collating a bunch of shit together and then moving on to sort of the next bit. Great atmosphere. Cool. Cool voice acting. Like, I think I'm watching it with English voice acting. But I actually might switch it over because I really want to feel immersed, and it is such a great atmosphere that they've created already. I'm going to keep playing this probably during the day. I've really enjoyed what I've seen of this developer, and they know how to make a goddamn scary game. So cool. Early thoughts on Kronos: The New Dawn. Really enjoying it. Feel like it didn't have a huge sort of peak of buzz like a lot of recent games.
Yeah, I think it come out on the did it come out on the same day as Silksong, maybe? It came out right around the time of... I remember seeing that it was out, and there was like a couple of reviews of it, but I think it got kind of eclipsed by... I remember thinking it was like, oh, that's unfortunate that it's coming out at this exact period.
Yeah, 5th of September. So was that like the day after, maybe?
Yeah, day after.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously very different style of game, but
Yeah.
Silksong is the kind of thing that
That
everyone in the world
dominated
was
the
going to try.
headlines. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to hear if anyone's been playing this. If you're a bit further in than me, but I'm really, really enjoying it.
Cool.
What have you been playing?
I've been dabbling this week.
Okay.
Honestly, I've been playing a little bit of a few things, but I started Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Yes.
And I've done sort of the beginning bit of it. Like I'm very early on, but it is so stupid. Really loving it. It starts out like kind of quite playing it straight. You know, like as straight as I guess Hideo gets. Pretty down the line stuff, and then all of a sudden there's a guy who's like covered in bees, and a guy whose eyeballs can bulge out of his head. And this kind of all happens literally. Like you're going to find this like kidnapped scientist in a Russian base, and you got to sneak in and do all this like covert stealth stuff, and it's like this is pretty stock standard, spy thriller stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just on a dime, it just escalates. Like it throws. There's like a guy that's got like lightning. It's just like the fucking Planeteers just come out of nowhere, and it like there's no like warning or lead into this other than the fact that it's a Hideo Kojima project. But it is very funny that like instantaneously it goes from being quite a believable for a video game spy espionage thing to just a literal cartoon.
I think I've just double checked. I'm halfway through. So
oh wow, okay.
It's not super long either. I think I'm about 6-ish hours in. It's about 12 hours long. I'm up to the boss. I'm sure Nox talked about it. Back in the day, the sniper. Who's really old, and one of the tricks, and I guess this is a spoiler. It's a secret. It's a game secret. Because he's so old, apparently one of the tricks you could do on the PS2 was change the date in your system settings to like a year in the future, and then you'd boot up the game and he'd just have died of old age, which is just like a fucking great classic Hideo Kojima thing.
See, there's Warner Brothers patenting the Nemesis system, which is a shame because plenty of other people could have gone on to use that. And then there's like Hideo not even needing to patent the things that he does because they're so whack that like imagine any other developer being like, yeah, cool, we'll put that in it. Like it's just like, no, that's one of one. Like that's a trick that works once in video games. You may as well have patented it because it only really works in the world of your project.
Yeah, but it's such a creative thing to have in there. But having not done that, he's like a real tedious, long boss fight, which I've got stuck on, and it's like you say, it is so silly, and there's so much creativity and fun and bizarre characters in it. And I think I talked about it when I kind of reviewed it properly. It still feels like an old game in many ways. The sort of those cut scenes between like an area that lasts for 30 seconds, like all of these like very segmented areas, and some of the mechanics are, a little more clunky than they were in the later versions of these games.
Yeah, it's funny that you've got this like healing system where it's like trying to be immersive. So you go into this like health kit and like if you've broken your arm, you have to like put in a splint and disinfect the wound. And it's kind of telling you all this and you're like, oh, fuck, all right. And then you go in and all that really amounts to is just scrolling through a menu and clicking bup. It's like, you know what I mean? It's set up like it's this really immersive thing, and then all it really is just like selecting some stuff in a menu.
Yes, yeah. It's just you have to use 3 medical kits instead of one.
Different combination, but it also just tells you exactly which ones to use. It's not even like you're having to like, intuit it. It's just all there for you to just
literally a checklist.
I do really like it. It does look so weird and of its time when you're in an area and you you cross over the threshold that means that you're gonna load up into another area, and it then cuts to like a different angle of you just kind of like running.
Yep.
As it sort of shows that you're leaving that. It's so
like
it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I
kind of love it. It's so odd looking.
It really is. Like I'm sure people who played the original like back on the PS2 get like a real nostalgia kick from it because. Yeah, it is such a fun thing that doesn't happen anymore. But also,
I like it. I get the nostalgia kick for it, and I don't even have the nostalgia for it.
It does really evoke those PS1, PS2. I'm sure like 64 games would have been similar.
Weird era of stuff where there's just these weird kind of bridging sections rather than just a loading screen with a tip on it or whatever.
Yeah, because that was something that sort of that was an aspect, as with many other things, that I kind of queried. Should this have been a proper remake? Something like Dead Space, which I know the way they got around loading screens, because they still had to load these areas, was, your player gets in an elevator and you stand in an elevator for, 5 seconds. But it just feels more modern and more immersive and.
Yeah, I do think I get what you're saying, and I think like in an ideal world, like a full remake of this would have been cool and potentially interesting. However, I think the fact that Kojima is now no longer with the company, and so there would then be a lot of stuff in there that is not his original vision, which is why I'm interested in playing this. And so I think like it being this really is like just a reskinning, like everything about the original is in there. So I don't feel too dirty about playing something that's like had his involvement kind of like overwritten or been done without his say so. I really do feel like I'm just getting a modern, handles better, looks better version of like his original game. Yeah. I think like having things where you'd like condense the story or change some bits of it or whatever, I would feel a bit like I would feel less interested, because I would be like, well, I want to play more of Kojima's stuff that I never did at the time, but I don't feel like I'm doing that if this is like a 30% just Konami coming in and going like, this should be like this or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And I think that's also the view of most people. Like, either they're in your position where they didn't play it but they want the real experience, or they did play it and they don't want it changed because
they want just a nice modern
and they love Kojima and they don't want that, like you say, to see that vision watered down by a bunch of people who just own the rights.
I think Konami is smart enough to know like they would incite a lot of ill will if they were to like have gone in and completely redone a lot of it, which I think people do still kind of already. There are some people that feel a bit like, man, fuck supporting him. They fucked him over. I don't want to contribute to what they're doing, but having fun with it and looking forward to spending a bit more time with it. Nice. Just when I have a bit more time in the calendar to sit and watch 3 hours worth of cutscenes before doing any gameplay.
How are you finding the story in terms of being able to follow it? Because I think I said, like, I would have had no idea what was going on if I'd played it at the time. Like, obviously I would have been like a teenager or whatever, but like having listened to a podcast or two about the Cold War, at least I have kind of like some context, but it's still pretty convoluted, I guess.
Pretty quickly. I guess I went in kind of braced for that, because having recently played Death Stranding 2 and, having played Death Stranding 1, like just really being okay with the idea that part of the joy of Kojima is, realizing that, you're meant to be lost. You're meant to constantly not know what's going on and just going on vibes. And I think it was even just like hearing other people talk about that before playing Death Stranding 2, like being like, oh, okay, you're not dumb for not getting this. You haven't missed anything. There is stuff that gets brought up that is as if like you're playing a version of the game that has had an hour of cutscenes deleted, where people just talk about stuff as if it's common knowledge, and you're like, what? But that just is how he writes. That's how his stuff goes. So I think I'm a lot more. I think I'm having the benefit of played
Yeah.
probably like even more so like esoteric stuff.
Yeah. Certainly Death Stranding 1 was, yeah.
Yeah, happy to just
Yeah.
lock in and be like, yeah, stuff's going to happen and not make sense, but as long as it's cool and there's funky, weird guys in there, then I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm having a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah. Embrace the mystery.
Yeah, exactly. I also tried the demo for Trails in the Sky First Chapter, a remake of an old JRPG that has been getting great reviews. People remember the original very fondly, and I tapped out very quickly and was not enjoying it at all. Had a very weird, I love anime and a JRPG as much as the next guy, but this was really pushing me to my limit. Yeah, found it kind of weird and a little creepy. It kind of made me feel a little.
One of those.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's like this young girl. She's got this like kind of adopted brother, and then it cuts to them a little bit. You sort of see how the brother comes into their life in the very beginning, like the first thing that happens in the game, and then it cuts to them a little bit older, and the brother is like, he's playing music, and the sister comes outside and she's like, oh, you're going to make your sister swoon if you keep talking like that.
Boy.
I was like, all right, I think I'm out.
Oh, boy. Oh, dear.
I mean, I do think, like, if it's a long 100-hour JRPG that's doing a lot of the same stuff, it's like, hey, look, if you find an exit point, you know what I mean? I've already got plenty of these in my life. If you find an excuse to have this one that is supposedly great, like, you not have to engage with it, it's like, oh, what a relief.
Yeah.
I've saved myself 100 hours of my life.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that way with Xenoblade Chronicles, right. the one that was on the first Switch.
Yeah.
One of the earlier and one of the big sort of releases on the Switch, where it felt very objectify-y, and it felt
I mean, I've got a pretty high tolerance for that kind of stuff, but there was just something about the whole vibe of this. I was like, yeah, I can't. I do like with those games, like they're often like you're doing like a lot of the same stuff across all of them. And for me, like they just really live or die by the vibe and the characters and the world. It's like Atlas do a world and a style really well, and a lot of Square's classic ones. Like I love a Dragon Quest with all the cool Toriyama designs and all that kind of stuff. And then, this within the first, just really early stages, I was like, I don't care enough about any of the design. Is very like, boilerplate
generic
anime kind of stuff. I was like, look, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure the mechanics are great and fun, and the story probably engrossing the further in you get. But I don't have it in me.
The vibes are off.
The vibes are off.
Yeah.
I also, last night, I remembered that I never quite finished my playthrough of Mario Galaxy from the All Stars 3D collection.
Right.
And that new pack that's got, 2 is going to be out on the Switch soon. So I was like, I should go finish that. And did the last little bit of the main kind of campaign of that. And man, what a great game. I'm happy that they're both going to be out on the Switch too. The second one is even better than the first. The second one is an absolute fucking banger.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
I think it might be the best format of Mario game. I mean, I love the Super Mario 3D World and 3D Land format of like the shorter levels more so than I love the big worlds of like Odyssey and Galaxy and the kind of trying to hunt through every little corner for hidden stars and stuff. But in Galaxy, they kind of really do a bit of both of them, where they have these like sort of mid-sized little worlds, but then when you're going into them, you are just going from an A to B point, and they find ways to sort of have a little area and kind of lead you through one direction to get this star, and then a different direction to get this star, and then there will be one where there's like a hidden random one. So you're getting that thing of returning to the same area a couple of times and having them be a bit more fleshed out and have a theme to them, rather than the 3D world levels that are just a block floating in the sky or whatever. But they don't force you to just do the busy work of like, having to spend like way too long in the one area before moving on. yeah, I'm pumped to play. I'm pumped to play 2 again. I'm pumped for anyone who hasn't played either of these games to get to have them on the Switch. And I think it's cool that they're basing the next movie on this set of games, because there's like so much interesting visual stuff. I don't know if we talked about it last week, but one of the things that they're putting out is there's like a little storybook in Galaxy that you unlock.
Oh, yeah,
it's kind
yeah.
of like the backstory of Rosalina, the princess that you meet in this game. And that stuff was all put in there in secret by the guy directing the game, because I think I don't know whether he'd pitched it to Miyamoto or if it's just known that like Miyamoto doesn't give a fuck about story. He'd always been like,
right,
you don't need that stuff in a game. It's not necessary. And I think they'd been like, oh, Mario goes into space and he finds this like observatory and this like princess who lives in the stars. Like, what if we give her this like whole story? And he was like, nah. And then they just kind of went and sort of put it, he like worked on it, I think in secret, like maybe after hours. And even like where it is in the game, it's like, it's not hidden, but it's just this like, the only way that you find these bits is like there's a little library that you can walk into and you gradually unlock new chapters of the storybook throughout the game. Right. And it'll tell you that there's a new chapter. But the only way that you get the chapter is by like deciding to go and walk into the library, and then so it kind of, it's not hidden, it's not like secret, but it's also not like, it's not fed to you organically throughout the game. Like you have to go and like look for it. So he kind of, he sort of secretly, put it into the game because he was like, I mean, it's not like it needs to be fucking War and Peace or anything, but I mean, let's give the people a little something. And it's cool. Like it's not, it's fairly, I mean, those games, like they've got a little more than just like Peach is kidnapped, you're in this. Right. Yeah, even like bringing in new characters and there being this whole other little world that's got its origin and backstory. It's cool. So it'll be cool to see how if they do anything interesting with that in the movie, or if they just absolutely shit the bed and have some of the worst needle drops of all time. And yeah.
He's a star man.
He's a jump man. But certainly, visually there's so much for them to work with in terms of the animation. Yeah. Like the design of the games is just awesome. And too.
I played a bit of the first Galaxy in that 3D All-Stars pack that we got. Yep. But I don't know, whatever, maybe bad timing, just didn't get sucked into it. But I'll definitely pick up 2 on the Switch as, like that standalone downloadable, and looking forward to it.
It's funny because they've still, like with these ports, they've got like, the game's had a lot of like Wii era stuff in them that is a little less clunky now, just with the like gyro aiming of the Pro Controller instead of the like infrared kind of thing that was in the Wii remote.
Because that's how you pick up all the like little stars and stuff, or the smaller project, pickups. Yeah.
Yeah, you're aiming at the screen. There was also this stuff where you would be like, you would balance on a ball and you would be like rolling around a course where you could fall off the edge.
Right.
And you would, from memory, you would control it by, I think, like you're tilting the Wii remote, or you're like holding it upright, like kind of a joystick, and it was just so frustrating, a little imperfect, a little, again, just classic like motion control that was a bit sort of at a certain point like not fun. When it's having to be so precise, when you can like literally just the whole run ends if you fall off the edge of the course, is like so frustrating.
Motion control's going in my special zone of
of course,
big marketing gimmicks, big new mechanics.
Yep. And I mean I don't know. I think like a lot of people, I would love there to be like the next Mario be a big open world one. But I mean, seeing them return to this concept with, what is it, like nearly 20 years on of like modern graphics and tech, and I think these games still play super well, but there is the odd every now and then, because you're in zero gravity, kind of like running around the entire circumference of like a small little planet. Every now and then the camera will kind of get turned around a little bit.
Right.
Just seeing them do a version of that now, it's a little, all those like kind of slight little niggles kind of rounded off, I think would be super cool. But Yeah, we'll see. I'm pumped to play 2 again. And that's it for Tommy's Dabbling Corner.
Very nice. I reckon that's it for this episode of Filthy Casuals. What do you say?
Yeah, I say that sounds good.
Okay.
Get on the Patreon, folks. Thanks for listening. If you want to support the show, we really appreciate everyone who's on there, and we appreciate you for tuning in. And hey, look, if you can't afford to get on the Patreon, recommend this to a friend. Post about it somewhere.
Absolutely.
Leave a nice review on your podcast player of choice. Always helps. We will see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals, I just got a text that our patent for podcasting went through. We were successful. We own the concept of talking into a microphone now.
We'll see you in court, Joe Rogan.